to the HBCU Matters Panel. I am your moderator, Brittany Stevens, a two-time proud HBCU alum of Lincoln University, the first degree-granting institution for African Americans, and Central State University. Marauders, are y'all here? I serve as Educate Me Director of Community Outreach. Enough about me. We are all here to hear from a diverse panel of thought leaders, your leaders of the HBCU community. As a former college and career readiness teacher, and with over 600 people in attendance, mostly educators, I would like for us all to go around and give you a 30-second introduction elevator pitch. Dr. Powell, I'll start with you.
Good morning. I am Susan E. Powell, and I serve as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs at Jackson State University. And I'm excited about being a part of this forum and this panel, and looking forward to dialoguing with colleagues, students, and friends.
Thank you, Dr. Powell. Dr. Gaston, you can go on next.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
I'm not getting my sound. It's, you know what, we did that before. Where are we?
All right. Dr. Preastly, if you could give your 30-second introduction elevator pitch.
Yes, good morning, Brittany and all colleagues joining the call. My name is Jacqueline Preastly, and I proudly serve at Southern University under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Ray Belton. I'm serving the students here as the Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management and Student Success. I'm really happy to be on this panel. Thanks so much for inviting me. Looking forward to a great next hour. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Briggs.
All right. Good morning, Brittany. Good morning, friends and colleagues. It is indeed a pleasure to be on this panel with such wonderful people. I'm really happy to be here. I am, again, Dr. Jerryl Briggs. I am the 8th president of our beloved Mississippi Valley State University, located in Itta Bena, Mississippi, the educational oasis of the Mississippi Delta. And I am really looking forward to this panel discussion. This is a wonderful topic, and ready to get started.
I love it, Dr. Briggs. I love it. All of you are bringing great energy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to say Mississippi 10 times in a row. All right, Dr. Hodges. I see Dr. Hodges has joined us on. Dr. Adams-Gaston, are you ready to go?
Mic is muted.
Oh, you're great energy. Oh, yeah. Mississippi 10 times in a row. All right. Okay.
Greetings, colleagues. I'm Dr. Jame'l Hodges.
Dr. Hodges has joined us on.
Can you hear me?
Adams-Gaston, are you ready to? I can hear you. Someone has some okay, back
let me
end.
hit. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay.
Greetings, colleagues. I'm Dr. Jame'l Hodges. Can you hear me? Hello, my name is Dr. Jame'l Hodges. I proudly serve as the Vice President for Student Success and Engagement at the Edward Waters College, the first and oldest HBCU in the state of Florida. And I proudly serve under the leadership of Dr. Zachary Faison, our president.
Thank you, Dr. Hodges. All right, we're going to go back to Dr. Adams-Gaston. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready, but I don't see that I'm able to move forward. So I feel I'm frozen, and so is everybody on the screen. Here we are. Thank you. I'm Dr. Javaune Adams-Gaston. I'm president of Norfolk State University in Norfolk, Virginia. We are so pleased to be here. We are the largest HBCU in the state of Virginia, and we are pleased at all the work that is being done here at the institution.
Thank you, Dr. Adams-Gaston. So right now, if you're listening, okay, I don't hear the back end no more. So we're good to go. We're all working through this new technology era. So I definitely appreciate everyone bearing with us at this time. And so without further ado, we're going to get into our first question. I'm not even sure why this should be a question in the first place, but I must ask, why do HBCUs matter? Dr. Briggs, I'll start with you.
Oh, absolutely, Brittany. That is a very important question. And I know you started by correctly by saying, why are we asking that? Well, we're asking that because I think it's important to understand not only from a historical perspective, the importance of HBCUs, but the current perspective of why we are still so relevant. From our beginnings, HBCUs were founded to support opportunities for education for all, particularly for African Americans. And even now in 2021, the relevance of the importance of our institutions remain high. We are producers of outstanding graduates who've made significant contributions, not only to this country, but to the world. And we continue to promote the advantages and opportunities for getting that quality education on our campuses that truly is making a difference. So when we talk about the importance of who we are and why we are, again, we are all relevant, and even more important today, I think, and the numbers are showing that. And the numbers of African Americans graduating from our institutions and the relevant positions that they are holding throughout the world is just current examples of why we are still so important. So I think that it's important to look back and reflect on our past, but also realize that our future is just as bright. And if we do that collectively, all of us together, we will all be successful. Thank you.
Absolutely, Dr. Briggs. What a powerful statement. Collectively, we shall rise and we stay together. How about you, Dr. Powell? Why does HBCUs matter?
Did you send me that, Brittany? I'm sorry. Okay. I think HBCUs matter because when you take a look at individuals such as yourself and those of us who are HBCU graduates, it's about the experience. Whenever you talk to students who make that decision to come to HBCU, the first thing they say is, I'm looking forward to having that HBCU experience, because the reality of it is a lot of our students, I can say for those of us who are HBCU graduates, we learn more outside of the classroom how to survive than inside the classroom. And if you take a look at those individuals that are successful, that are HBCU grads, it's about what we learn outside in talking to our presidents and our vice presidents on a one-on-one basis. When we have a tendency to want to shadow them and intern, that's when we learn. In addition to what we get inside the classroom, I think we learn more outside of the classroom.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree about the outside of the classroom as where learning truly happens. So leading into that, let me take a pause for the class right now, because we have our 6 panelists has joined us. Dr. Parris Carter out of Howard University, the Mecca is what they call it. I'm going to have you do your 30-second elevator pitch.
Hello, can you hear me now? I'm having some technology issues. I'm so sorry. I hope to join in a few minutes, but I'm Dr.
All right. It happens. It happens at times. It's okay. So the last statement, and if we our cameras on you, well, not our cameras, our voice on you, they're not speaking because we're getting backlash. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. So much better. I see Dr. Carter trying to come on in. While he's getting situated, I wanted to piggyback off of Dr. Powell's last statement about collective in the community at large. And I wanted to ask this question. I saw Dr. Hodges, you was nodding your head. So I wanted to ask, we have about 70 school districts across the country in attendance today. What can HBCUs do to increase inclusion and diversity in those schools? Take yourself off mute, brother.
Thank you for that question. We know that HBCUs only represent about 3% of the institutions today, but that a impressive 20% of those of our HBCU graduates represent Black graduates across America, and 25% representing those who graduate in STEM fields. And so when you think about HBCUs in terms of social mobility, in terms of gender and equity, in terms of cultural competence, they definitely contribute to the diversity and inclusion of our institutions. Most of our PWIs mimic the culture of an HBCU in providing safe spaces for students of color on their institutional campuses. And so we do it naturally. People of color and HBCUs welcome those who look different than us in a different type of way than our majority institutions. Research shows that majority students at HBCUs do not feel marginalized, and in fact, are highly involved in co-curricular and academic success. And so that would be my response to that question.
Absolutely. You know, if you are getting a dissertation, or if you're writing your dissertation, getting your doctorate, these are the people that you need to interview because they are giving some phenomenal answers. So let me ask you, thank you for that. So Dr. Adams-Gaston, let me ask you, how can HBCUs save K through 12 education?
For that question, and it's a really important question to ask. Really, what we're looking at is how do HBCUs create more educators and create educators who are ready to meet the needs of the young people who are in K through 12 at this time in this generation. We know that K through 12 educators, college educators play a role in supporting the high quality education continuum. And we want to ensure that our young people who are in the K through 12 community have a diverse set of educators who are well trained, well educated, and have a worldview that is inclusive of these young people. Research has consistently shown that students learn better from teachers who share their cultural background, and that makes sense in their cultural experiences. So we want to be sure that the educators that we train and that graduate are equipped with the widest range of teaching and learning tools, and that we allow them to meet the students where they currently are so that they can help them grow and achieve, just as we do with our students who are coming to HBCUs. We want to ensure their leadership development, their development of understanding the world that we live in, and excellence in teaching curriculum and teaching learning and being creative, meeting the students where they are and ensuring the highest success. As Virginia's largest HBCU, Norfolk State University has played a critical role in the work of advancing diversity in Virginia's teaching. Over the last decade, we have prepared and graduated more than 1,100 future educators of color. in the fields of early childhood education, elementary and secondary education, special education, and school leadership. We also know that this education starts at the preschool level. And here at Norfolk State University, we've had a preschool academy in Norfolk State University Preschool Academy for over 40 years, helping students to be prepared to go to school and to be well prepared with the tools that they need and the exposure that they need. And we are currently looking for additional funding for this highly successful program. So it's everything from the littlest, the youngest individuals, bringing them to the campus and having them in our academy, all the way through educating and outreach to our community schools. Very important that our students are outreaching and connecting to our community schools.
Wow. I heard some great points in there we can all agree on. Connectivity, collaboration, engagement. Now we're going to hit on to Dr. Carter again. I'm so glad you were able to join us today. Not late, but always on time. Yes, you are. Yeah. And that's a very nice time to have on as well. If you can give us your 30-second introduction elevator pitch. Go.
Thank you. And yes, we fall down, but we get up. The technology will not beat me. And so I am happy to be joined on this panel with some amazing colleagues. I'm honored to be here. I'm zooming in from the Mecca, Howard University, serving as the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, and really interested in this conversation, not so much why we matter, but just helping the world understand the importance of our institutions and what we're producing. And so I'm just happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. I mean, this is a dynamic panel. I told everybody to log on. Everybody is jumping on here right now. My text messages is going off the chain right now. I know everyone is starting to say, what school am I going to go to? Enrollment is packing up. Educators are getting inspired. And I am just so amazed at this moment right here. So leading into a couple of things that you all touched on in your presentations, I wanted to ask this question. Many HBCUs focus on alumni engagement as a source of financial support. What can HBCUs do differently? Use these relationships to pipelines to internships and employment. Dr. Preastly, would you start us off with that one?
Sure, it was my pleasure. As my colleagues have said, HBCUs are extremely important. Dr. Hodges hit on the fact that we have hundreds of thousands of students represented in probably, I think, 107 different HBCUs. And so that means that there are students across the country that can be in touch with alum to engage in fostering these pipelines and internships. One of the things that I think really would work is engaging former students who are now corporate alum. Sort of create email and social avenues for students to be alerted about jobs and internships that might be available from somebody who graduated from your institution. Also, you can match the passions of alumni with the fundraising needs of the institution. So you tap into your alum and understand what it is that they're passionate about, link that to your funding opportunities, and that's a great way to make sure that you can get some support, some funding. Also, you can match students with alum that can be mentored by them in networking events and internship kinds of opportunities. You can link students in LinkedIn, webinars, job fairs, to learn from folks in the field that they're studying from as well. What's really important is to get the alum linked to your career services office. I have a dynamic executive director of career services here by the name of Tamara Montgomery. She does a great job linking up with our alum to connect them to pathways to success, linking them to interview opportunities and career fairs. And another good thing is to link up with Thurgood Marshall. There are graduates of HBCUs that work with Thurgood and that they host there at Thurgood as well. So there's a broader way of opportunities to make sure that alum are connected, because they will be very, very helpful to institutions as we matriculate our students through and try to get through this pandemic. Not being able to travel is going to be really one of the biggest things that's going to hurt us. So dispatching your folks out to the alums in your areas, or the chapters that around your university, that's going to be key.
Thank you, Dr. Preastly. That was an excellent answer. I also want to hear from Dr. Powell on that one. I want to know, what can HBCUs do to help foster pipelines for internship and employment from their alum?
Thank you. Great question. One of the things that I know that we do, we're in constant contact on connecting with the alum as it relates to connecting them with our students. They have different forums in their particular state, and we participate in for current students, new students that are coming in, to try to make sure we compare them up based on their success. Because what I found is that your alum really want to give back in that capacity. They want to know, how can I help a student come into the field of accounting or something of that nature? They will reach out and say, what can we possibly do? Do you have students in this particular field, in that area, that we could possibly mentor and shadow? I heard Dr. Preastly said that her career director of career services connect with the alum. The same thing, and make sure she's trying to meet the needs, to communicate with them, to say, hey, what is it that you need? What skills should the students have in order to connect with your particular organization? Because sometimes when students come into our institutions, they just graduate with the degrees, but we need to make sure that they have the skills. And I think when the alum have a tendency to communicate that with some of the students, that really, really helps. And so Dr. Jordan, who's over our career services, works well with the alum to communicate that to our students, to prepare them for it. And another thing they do in terms of giving back, because a lot of our students come in and they may not be professionally prepared for the dress and things of that nature. They play a role. We have a closet, a professional closet that we have, and the alum give back to that, their professional items, and financially support it to make sure that our students, when they leave, when they go to their internships, that they have the outfits that they're supposed to have and wear whenever they go. So there's so many different ways that the alum play a role in the success of a student. And we make sure we let them know that these are alum who are willing to give back and want to give back. So take advantage of those opportunities.
And Brittany, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I saw Dr. Hodges raise his hand first because he wanted to tag on to that. So I'm going to let you go ahead, brother. You want to unmute yourself first. Technology world, unmute.
Face to face. I need COVID to answer and get face to face. Okay. To Sister Preastly and Powell, that was a phenomenal response. I completely agree with you. We cannot over market the Thurgood Marshall College Fund for our public HBCUs, and of course UNCF for our private institutions. There's money that our students are not tapping into, and internship opportunities. My son, Jalen, who's on my guardian angel right here, he interned through the Thurgood Marshall College Fund with Terrence J. a year and a half ago in LA. And that was just, just from the contact that we have at the Career Development Center and our students at Virginia State at that time. And now I'm at Edward Waters College. And one thing that I really appreciate here, we're a smaller private HBCU, but we do have a strong connection to our young alum. And I think young alumni also bring in a different perspective for our college students in terms of people they can see that they've seen just 2 years ago on the yard with them that are now working. It gives them a different type of drive, and it makes them feel a little bit more like, I can do that. That's my chapter soror or my fraternity brother or my mentor from freshman year. And now he or she's working for this corporation or for this, whatever it may be. And so I think we can't forget about the young alumni in the area and locally and globally that can assist our students as well, that they relate a little bit more to. So I agree with y'all too.
Absolutely, mentorship matters. Dr. Carter, I'm gonna go and then we're gonna hit to Dr. Adams-Gaston.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to add quickly that if you have an honors program or a leadership academy or a program like that for ambassadors or scholars, that's another way to engage alum, bringing them into those programs and talk about career development. Alumni love to do that, and like mentioned before, especially tapping into young alum that were, recently in those same seats is very valuable.
Thank you. Dr. Adams-Gaston?
I thank all of my colleagues for your very profound thoughts on this issue. The one thing that I want to really drive home, one is alum are great for providing financial support, scholarships, and other financial means for our students to be successful. But one of the things that I think we really are working on here and really proud of moving along is the whole concept of internships. Internships are game changers for students. In fact, about 67%, that's almost 70% of students who have an internship will get a offer from that corporation or from that business that they have done their internships in. So we know that they matter greatly, and our alum are one of the best resources for finding doorways into those corporations, those institutions that allow our students to have an internship. And I really say here that no student should be leaving an institution of higher education, particularly HBCUs and NSU, Norfolk State University, without having had at least one internship. And your students are your best voices for talking about why internships changed their lives. And so I really, really look at our alum to help us get internships and bring them to the table. One of our most successful areas is with our military alumni association, alumni chapter. They do a fantastic job of mentoring those students who are in the ROTC as they get commissioned and getting them prepared to be military officers. But that's the mentoring component. The internship has to happen. Every student needs to have one.
Thank you for that. Powerful responses. I'm saying right now, the question of why do HBCUs matter, it has just been dismissed because these institutions that are in front of you right now are really doing things to cultivate employment and internships. I'm actually here today who has poured so much into my life and has helped me to become the leader that I am, and that is Dr. Jerryl Briggs. And Dr. Preastly, Dr. Hodges, Dr. Carter, who I've worked with before. Dr. Adams-Gaston, this is my first time meeting you, but I do understand that you're my soror. So this is an absolutely amazing time that we're having. Leading into these internships and employment, I would like to ask you, Dr. Briggs, due to the unprecedented time of COVID-19, and we're also battling with a lot of social injustice right now, do you believe with most schools doing virtual learning, will these HBCU students be prepared to go into the world of employment?
Yes, Brittany, great question. I'd say that we know, particularly at HBCUs, we have to teach the ability to do what? To be flexible and understand that as we navigate through these challenges, our eye is still on the prize. Brittany, you know that I'm a glass half full person. And I believe in our successes, despite the challenges that we might have to overcome in order to be successful. And that's one of the important things, I think, that even in this environment that we have right now, we have to be able to support students in their efforts to still be successful. So although we might not be able to meet in person, we're still in spirit in person. And that really has to be reflected in what we do. And we've always done that. We understand the importance of that outside the classroom experience and growth. And that just needs to be heightened now to include the inside the classroom experience, even if that experience is not face-to-face. So I think that, this is an opportunity for us. It's an opportunity for us to continue to grow and do the right things and really understand that the whole learning has changed even before the pandemic. And we have to be able to, again, be flexible, but realize that we are graduating outstanding prepared students for the world. And that's an important thing. I'm a very passionate and reflective person myself. And as an HBCU graduate, I know that I wouldn't be sitting here today as a HBCU president if it wasn't for that experience and that involvement, that personal involvement that individuals saw in me when I didn't even see it. So it's incumbent of us to assure that our students are still prepared and to be flexible in their learning, but to really encourage them to say, regardless of all of this, we're all in the same situation across the world. So by doing that, you're no different or no less prepared than anyone else. So let that be the mantra and move forward. So I think that we're preparing our students to be outstanding contributors to the world. Outstanding. Absolutely.
Dr. Preastly, you next, because I know you had something to add.
Well, yeah, I think that this pandemic placed us in a really difficult situation, but HBCUs across the country did what they had to do between second spring break, because most of us did 2 spring breaks this year, to get the kids ready to come back to school after that second spring break to be prepared for learning virtually. Those of us who were raised in student affairs and student enrollment know that student engagement is very, very important, but it seems like that theory just kind of went out the window. The student engagement theory says students need high touch. They need to be in touch with their faculty, their staff, their peers on a regular basis. And all of that came to a screeching halt when the pandemic came. So now the theory is, does it work or not? What I think will help these students be prepared for the workforce that are going through this virtual learning process right now, it'll depend on a couple of factors. Dr. Briggs kind of touched on it a little bit, the way students learn. We're going to have to tap into everybody's learning style and understand that it's going to be important to continue to support that regardless, whether it's virtual, kinesthetic, whether it's auditory. Make sure that the students understand from the way they see it and from where they sit. But that is going to depend too on largely the quality of instruction that they get in that particular setting. It can be low to mid to high to none. And so the more we tap into the quality of how we present to our students virtually is going to be important, because when it gets down to the lower end of the quality of instruction, you'll find a lot of attrition and a lot more dropouts. But one high point, and I think really important to understand about being a virtual student nowadays, it's going to be a growing category of jobs in the virtual industry. So these students will be super prepared because that's what they've done the last 2 years, almost, well, a year going into the second year. So I think there are going to be some downsides, but as long as we continue to teach students from where they sit, utilizing the skills that the way they learn, and prepare them for what is probably going to be mostly virtual for the next couple of years, I think we'll have them ready. I don't think that we'll miss a beat. And HBCUs around the country have done a great job of converting their classrooms to virtual. So I'm optimistic that our students will still be prepared.
Dr. Hodges, I see you giving a very affirming nod to HBCU students be prepared to go into the workforce after this year of virtual learning. Is your institution doing anything differently to ensure that students are prepared to go into the workforce?
I think as we move forward, we're really looking at.
If you're not speaking,
I should be unmuted. Can you hear me? I'm unmuted. I am unmuted.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. And what I would say is I echo Dr. Preastly's view that this is the workforce of the future. And in that workforce of the future, we want our students as prepared as possible. We know that a part of the learning experience for our students is the interaction and the ability to ask questions, but they're going to learn new ways. And so I think having multimodal learning for us has been really a new and different way. So we went to in time, so people come onto campus. We have hybrid, so some days part of the class is in the classroom and part is online, and then we have remote, which means that it's class taught at a particular time with the faculty member, and we have online. And I think it's important for all of our students to become acquainted with these new ways of delivering information as well as working together. These are digital natives. They have been exposed to the internet for their entire lives. And so helping them make sense of that is important. But it's really important for us to understand that not everybody gets the same quality of internet. Not everybody has the receptivity that they need, and not everybody has a space where they can really feel comfortable in their learning process. So, you know, we gave out a number of laptops to our students as well as hotspots, but then we decided we really needed to do many virtual backgrounds for people so that they'd have some privacy and some sense of, you know, I've now stepped into my classroom. So all of those things are going to help our students as they traverse this new world of being online, being virtual, as well as being connected, and learning how to make those relationships work is going to be really important for them.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Dr. Carter, I see you go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think our campuses have always had a history of care for our students beyond just their academic development, but, you know, care and support for them as individuals. So, you know, the pandemic and this virtual scenario has certainly pushed us to think more about how we support and care for our students in terms of career preparation and things like that. That's just one area. But I think, you know, our students are amazing, and they have adapted to what is this new norm. I know that there's been more outreach and creativity from our career development office, as well as many other offices. And so I do think that, you know, virtual internships and co-ops don't provide, you know, there is a missing piece than a traditional internship, but it's the same across the board. And so we learn that even campuses that, you know, have had in place learning on their campuses, you know, organizations and companies are still trying to navigate, you know, this space and how they approach their internships. And so I guess, in short, the good thing is you know, the experiences all college students are having across the country. But I think because our students are sort of grounded in creativity and then our support around that, I think that they're going to be prepared appropriately.
Absolutely. Dr. Powell?
I also want to comment. One of the things that helped us to navigate through this was meeting regularly with the students, because when we decided to go virtual, we was like, okay, everybody's fine. We put the Wi-Fi, we did all of that, but we were hearing from the students, and it was not going as we thought it was going to go. So our provost, Dr. Mosley, and our president, President Hudson, we would meet regularly with the student leaders. What are the students saying? what are their concerns? And when we heard their concerns, we immediately made some adjustments to, I think we have less complaints for the spring, because I think we came in making more offers to them and giving them, like Dr. Preastly said, their learning style. We had to make that adjustment. And I think that really helped, because in the fall, we all were kind of like, what are we doing here? But I think this time we got it in terms of listening to our student leaders and our students. And when they shared with us, hey, we're not getting this. This is not working. We need face-to-face. We need to have that option. We need some type of contact. And so once we offered that, I think we're doing better, much better in providing them with what they need.
Thank you for that. Dr. Hodges, I know that you have something to add, so I'm going to let you go ahead.
I did. Thank you so much. So what I want to say is that I think from a personal, as an alum of an HBCU and a professional working at an HBCU, of course, we're all student-centered. I truly believe that this pandemic has really forced institutions, not just HBCUs, because we already do it, but it really forced institutions to collaborate and have less silos. Think about it. When have we ever had to put every single department, every single division on the same committee to talk about one thing? Other than maybe an HBCU homecoming or something like that, where everyone literally, people think it's just a game, but at HBCUs, that's a major town gown partnership, fundraiser, alumni enhancement, educational programming, engagement, risk management, et cetera, right? Marketing. But honestly, it really forced institutions to really think about what areas have we left out, right? From virtual learning to online applications to the website to communication to health and wellness. I mean, every single athletics, every aspect had to be involved in this pandemic. That's the first thing. And I think HBCUs do that, and we matter because we do that automatically. That's just how we operate. We collaborate. We're collaborative by nature. Our institutions are successful in providing access and graduation, retention, and persistence for not just students, but first-gen, low SES students who normally would not have made it anyplace else. We give people a chance because we are family-oriented, we are supportive, and we are collaborative by nature. The second thing that I think it did, I see y'all nodding your heads, is that for those of us who are true to student affairs, who get looked at as the group that, dump it on student affairs, or they can do it, or they're over there planning fun for the students. Well, guess what? The pandemic of COVID-19 has allowed people to respect the importance of student affairs and engagement, and that is development outside the classroom, and that the co-curricular experience truly matters. Because guess what? When the events, when everything else stopped, student affairs had to jump in, and everyone's like, what are we going to do with the students? Oh, now you want to value student affairs, right? And so, I think presidents, academicians, provosts truly see student affairs in a different way now. And I think that's what we do at HBCUs. And so that's my 2 cents on that. Oh, let me also put a plug in for EWC because I'm new here. I do want to give a brag point for Edward Waters College as a small private institution. As I mentioned before, the first HBCU in the state of Florida. Our enrollment actually did not get impacted by the pandemic, which is huge for us to have over 80% Pell eligible students who are mostly first gen. We have a 48% population of males, Black males, which you never hear of at an institution. That's huge. And so just think about what that means to those of us who truly understand the space that I'm speaking about. That's phenomenal to have students continue to thrive and be successful. So kudos to President Faison and all of our team here at EWC. And to all of you for the work you've been doing as well.
Absolutely. A huge kudos goes to everyone. We talked very in depth, and I want to get into my second to last question. HBCUs have been at the conversation. It's 2020. And of just recently, with the election of our Vice President, Madam Kamala Harris, we have Stacey Abrams, Reverend Warnock, all HBCU alum, Joyce Betty, who was a Central State alum. And these people have really catapulted and derived what HBCUs matter. We have top athletes now going into HBCUs, transferring from their institution. And I wanted to know this question. With everything going on, how can corporations best support the advancement of HBCUs? And if your HBCU has benefited from a large donation and or donation pledges from corporations as a result to the current social movements, how will those funds be used to enhance educational experiences? Dr. Adams-Gaston, I'm going to have
Thank you very much. And let me say that having one of the Divine Nine, Kamala Harris, as our Vice President for the United States of America is game-changing. Stacey Abrams and the work that she did and all the work that our individuals did, but mostly that they talk about their HBCU roots. And it really changes the game. It really put a light on HBCUs in ways that really needed to happen. Congresswoman Joyce Beatty is a personal friend of mine. We actually started working at The Ohio State University together as vice presidents. And so to see the work that she has put in and the success that she has had and always giving a nod to the HBCU is so, so very important. We here at Norfolk State University are the proud recipients of a $40 million gift by Mackenzie Scott. And we are so excited about what it will do for the university. What it is a transformational gift that becomes a game changer, that starts the process and starts the motion of all the things that we can do for our community, for the university, for our students, and with our faculty and staff, always really focused on service, on research, and on teaching, and how to do that in more transformational ways. We also had about $5.8 million in addition to that from companies that were partnerships, Netflix 2U partnership, the Apple partnership, the Sandia Labs. There's so many of them that we could go through, and we've been really pleased to be partners with these corporations. But what we want to make sure of is that these are lasting partnerships and that they bring more partnerships to the table. And so we had been in the planning for a capital campaign, and we will continue that work. We'll have a capital campaign kicking off in the fall. And what we intend to do is to squarely sit Norfolk State University in a position where we are able to have an ongoing institution that is funded at a level that needs to be funded both by the state and by private funds, and to really use those to transform the experiences and the future of our HBCU graduates.
Dr.
Great. That's some outstanding accomplishments and achievements. And I think we can all recognize that with the successes that's being shown by some of our alum, what does that say? That says that the sky is the limit, that you can achieve and do anything as an HBCU graduate as compared to anyone else. It's just an example of the tremendous opportunities that our graduates are having. And again, that's through hard work and dedication. Nobody gave us anything. And those examples are even abound in other successful stories of other alums who are doing outstanding things throughout the world. So I think that it's reflective to say it's important to see that our vice president and others are now serving in our HBCU graduates, because again, the sky is the limit. There is no limitation to what you can do, who you are, and what you can achieve. And so that example is really an important example. And I think that just opens the doors as we talk about corporate sponsorships, really realizing that the support that we can do at HBCUs will produce those outstanding workers, those outstanding entrepreneurs, all the folk that are going to really continue to transform our world. I think it's important to reflect and understand that they can be an HBCU graduate. they can be an HBCU graduate. And I know that here at Mississippi Valley State University, we're happy to have some very strong partnerships that really is continuing to help to move our university forward. One example that I'll just speak briefly on is we have a partnership with Fedex Logistics. We're actually the only university in this country, not HBCU, only university in this country that has a fully functional FedEx Logistics operation on their campus. And that partnership really helped us, again, to move our students forward, to really understand the importance of those corporate relationships. And I think that that's just going to be built upon even more. So it's opportunities out there for these corporations. If they want to see successful stories, they don't have to look any further than HBCUs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to Dr. Carter, and I'm going to end off this question with Dr. Preastly.
Thank you, Brittany. This is an important question, and I love this one because you know what, they are examples. They're amazing examples of what many of us in the HBCU community have always known, and that's we produce students who are equipped to solve global issues, reach diverse populations of people, and who are agents of change. And so I think that, you know, what newly elected Vice President Kamala Harris and others now that are on a world stage have the opportunity to help us, you know, convey that message even stronger, that HBCUs produce well-rounded, amazing people. And for many, I think their recognition is a confirmation of the message that many of us have, you know, spent a long time trying to convey. And so it's amazing. And in terms of large donations, you know, like many campuses, we have certainly benefited from some very, very rich, not just rich in dollars, but the partnership here recently and in the past. But what has been even more important is the interest in ongoing partnerships that will, you know, yield, you know, research opportunities, internships, jobs, and things like that, because resources, influence, and a desire for correcting social justice issues are what it takes for change. And so many of these partnerships and these philanthropists have a desire to seek change. In our institutions, there's no better place to bring those things together than our HBCUs. And just lastly, you know, one example is a partnership that we have with JP Morgan and Chase. And, you know, they don't just provide sponsorships, but, you know, they help educate our students on financial literacy and money management and building wealth. And I just think that those are the kinds of experiences that we are obligated to expose our students to.
Okay. I do think that the presence of VP Harris and First Lady Biden will bring some visibility to HBCUs, with VP Harris being an HBCU graduate and Dr. Biden being an academician by trade. I do believe there are going to be lots of different collaborations that they will garner from corporations. It's going to bring some 8- and 9-figure donors to the table, I believe, because we have the spotlight now with VP Harris. Here at Southern, we've been, you know, in conjunction with lots of different corporations. Exxon is huge in this area. We work with Walmart Corporate. We've used the funding to enhance our students' educational experience here. Some of these donations have used to upgrade our facilities, to provide scholarships. As an HBCU proud graduate of Mississippi Valley State University, I'm grateful for scholarships. And so corporations that's bringing these kinds of donations will help to upgrade the facilities where we can better teach our students. But we have corporations in our engineering, urban forestry programs, our College of Business, Science, our nursing program that has been very helpful to helping us to enhance our campus and our facilities to better educate our students. So I think that we should be looking forward to VP Harris and Dr. Biden giving some support to President Biden as they continue to push this agenda where they have the educational proposal for HBCUs. Small things like, doubling the max Pell, things like that are going to definitely be helpful. But their faces are going to bring some other players to the table who can be very, very instrumental in helping our students. So I'm looking forward to that and very, very grateful that they're lead our country at this time.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you. We're almost out of time, and I have one last question. Being that most of you are HBCU alum and have chosen to work at our illustrious institutions, if you can all go around and give one word that describes your HBCU experience. Dr. Hodges, I'll start with you.
Had some time to think about that, right? I would say my word would be resilience. My one word, resilience.
Dr. Powell?
My word would be empowering.
Dr. Briggs?
Yeah, my word would be transformative.
Great. Dr. Adams-Gaston?
I'm not an alum, but my mother was, my grandmother was, my sister was faculty at Howard for many years, my son and my niece, my family, my aunt. Heritage and the power of heritage.
Great word. Dr. Hodges?
Well, I'm also not an HBCU grad, but this is my second HBCU, and I've grown up, in an HBCU family household. So I have been adopted by the HBCU community. Dr. Briggs took what came to mind first, so I'm gonna say just amazing. What I see is just amazing.
Thank you. Dr. Preastly, end us off.
And if I may deviate from the structure, I'll just do a phrase: determined to succeed.
There it is. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is why HBCUs matter. I want to thank all of our panelists for coming on today and sharing all of their expertise. This was very empowering. I think I'm going to go out and donate to everyone out there. If you're an educator and you're watching this right now, understand that you can be impactful in your community, give back to your community, give back to your HBCU, be a mentor. If you have a job out there, get in contact with the career development people that they had mentioned before, and make sure that you are going to HBCU grants because HBCUs matter. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Next up, we have VP on the ones and twos.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a great day.